The Resident Evil 3 remake is finally out. Came out just this past April 3rd, this past Friday, and I am loving it. It is, gameplay-wise, it's, I think, a step up from Resident Evil 2. Story's different, obviously, remake of a different game, but it's great being back in Raccoon City, just like you were in Resident Evil 2. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I've got a actual review coming out later, so be on the lookout for that. But today, I want to talk about something that I noticed. Early on in the game, in the main area, you go into a place, and you see advertisements for this place all over. It's called Moon's Donuts. It was in the original. It's in this one. The music there is a cute reference to Resident Evil 2. And so, got me thinking. I love donuts. I eat donuts all the time, man. Donuts are great. But, how good would the Resident Evil 3 donuts taste? You see a bunch of them. So, I'm going to... I don't think many other people are talking about this when they talk about Resident Evil 3. I'm going to talk about all the donuts that I have seen. Granted, there may be some hidden in, some back office room, or, maybe in the in the infected cell tower area, or power area, somebody dropped a donut that I just missed. But I'm going to talk about in the donut shop and on their posters, every single donut, what I think it is, and how good I think it would taste. So, if you would care to join me, let's see how good the Resident Evil 3 donuts would really taste. First, we're going to start with the regular donuts. I split all of the ones that I saw into different sections. And for regular, I mean, just think about like Dunkin' Donuts, where they've got the plain donut, hole in the middle, and they just put the icing on top. Krispy Kreme, I love them, but they glaze their donuts as well. I don't feel like most other places do that. So I'm going to go with the basic, just donut and then icing on top for regular. So first we have this lime green donut, which I assume would be like a lime icing, a flavored fruit icing. And I feel like that one would be pretty solid. It looks like it's got a lot of icing on it, more than halfway covered, which is different than most donuts, but it looks like it'd be pretty solid overall. Nothing special. There's no sprinkles or anything. It just seems like it'd be a lime-flavored donut, which, I don't know. Lime is not necessarily a great taste for a donut. It's... what's the word I'm looking for? Tart, almost? Tangy? I don't know. But you want something that's a bit smoother. So it seems like it'd be alright, but not great. Next up, we have what looks to be almost like a marble pattern, which is where you do the frosting back and forth across it. And it looks like just vanilla frosting. Now, this I do think would be on a glazed donut, probably. It's similar to ones they have actually at Krispy Kreme now, where they do that exact thing. I'll throw a picture of those up. And yeah, if it is glazed, I think it'd be really good, really tasty. If it's not glazed, I don't think it would be as good, because unlike regular marble, there's icing, there's, the regular circle, and then you do the drizzle. This looks to be just the drizzle. So it seems like it would taste, it tastes good, but if it's glazed, that'd be a great donut. If it's not, just a regular one. And you don't want just a plain donut when you're in Raccoon City, You gotta stock up on the good stuff. Next is what looks to be chocolate with sprinkles. It's a classic. That's one of the most iconic donuts there is. So I can't say that's bad. After that would be vanilla frosting, but with the vanilla frosting, there's no sprinkles on it, no nothing. So pretty good. Just a standard donut right there. So yeah, that one would be solid, but without sprinkles, my personal thing. I think all the frosting ones can be improved with sprinkles, because it gives it just a little bit more flavor, a little bit more texture, and a little bit more aesthetic pleasure. So yeah, I'm not going to say it's bad, though. It's a vanilla frosting donut. After the vanilla frosting donut is a strawberry frosted donut. And my favorite donut type is strawberry frosted with sprinkles, so that's going to be real high up for me. I'm guessing these are vanilla and strawberry because the last one had white icing. This one's got pink icing. I don't know what other donut places do other than strawberry and vanilla for those, but, maybe it's raspberry, and I really don't know what else you can do other than vanilla. So, yeah, the strawberry frosted would be good. Sprinkles would be better, but, again, another classic one. Now, this next one, the angle and the lighting makes it hard to totally tell, but I'm nearly positive it would be a powdered sugar donut, which, again, a classic. Granted, powdered sugar, again, my opinion, I think it's best when it's like jelly donuts, but like just plain powdered sugar like that is not great. Who knows? Maybe that's a controversial opinion in the donut community, but who knows, man? Yeah. And again, this is Moon's Donuts. This is in Resident Evil 3. If Jill really wanted to get a donut, I don't feel like she'd want to get a powdered sugar, get all on her clothes. She already has to go into sewers, and fight zombies. How disgusting that is. You don't want to deal with powdered sugar on your fingers, getting stuck, and liquid on powder makes weird goop on powdered sugar. So that's when you want to stay away from. I feel like you want to stay more to the frosting side. After that this is one I'm not totally sure it is on what it could be. It could be pumpkin because the game takes place in September 29th. So I feel like this would be the time where donut shops would start bringing out pumpkin for October and generally the fall season. And pumpkin donuts, they're all right. I mean, they're nothing crazy. It tastes like, every other pumpkin thing, which, wow, shocker. But, I don't know, it's fine. You're not going to go to a donut shop for a pumpkin donut generally, but you will pick one up if you're there already. But if it's not a pumpkin, it looks like it's just like a regular donut, without any frosting. And some people like those. I personally do not. I think the best, if you want something plain, you go for a glazed, especially those Krispy Kreme glaze. Krispy Kreme, best glaze everywhere. Hot off the rack, the tray, I don't know what you call it, off the machine that you watch them glaze it. Those are incredible. So yeah, I think it's either a pumpkin or like a cake donut is what they're called, where it's just plain. So it could be either one of those. And then the last of the regulars is this one. It's red, and I think it's probably red velvet because that's a pretty common type of donut. I mean, not 100% common, but it's more common than maybe a raspberry glaze is another thing you could do, which sounds very tasty. I've personally not had one, but that's what I was going for, because it looks like if it were to be icing, it would cover the whole thing, which means it would probably be a glaze rather than icing, because most places don't fully cover it in icing. Or it's just a red velvet, and that's just the cake itself, or the batter, whatever, the donut's consistency, the bread. So if it's red velvet, that's pretty good, but it's not as good as if they had, like some places put frosting top, cream cheese frosting, like you would find on actual red velvet. Or if it's a raspberry glaze, I think that'd be very good. And another unique thing to add to Moon's Donuts. So now that we're out of the regular, let's go on to some of the basically, individuals. First off, we got the cruller, which is just that spiral donut. It's basically a regular donut, but it's a bit lighter. It's not as heavy as a regular cake donut. And I think crullers are all right, but it goes back to the glazed thing. If I'm going to get a more basic donut, I'm probably just going to go with a glazed rather than just a plain one or a cruller. And sometimes crullers are glazed, other times they have just sugar in them mixed with them, and they're generally a lighter one. So maybe at Dunkin' Donuts, if it's this type of donut, I would go for a cruller over a glazed if you want the lighter one. But Krispy Kreme doesn't even have crullers because their donuts themselves are already lighter. And that's another thing I want to talk about with Moon's Donuts. They switch between looking like they would be a Dunkin' Donut and a Krispy Kreme. I talked about the red velvet / raspberry. The raspberry the glaze would definitely be a more Krispy Kreme aspect of it. But a lot of them, the powdered sugar and the frosted strawberry, those would look like more of a Dunkin' style, which is a bit heavier, a bit thicker. So that's what I'm going to go under the assumption is that it's the thicker Dunkin' Donuts thing, Dunkin' Donuts style. So yeah, cruller, pretty good, not necessarily better than a glazed. It's about even with a glazed from Dunkin', I would say, because it's got, the lighter texture to it. Next of the individuals is the old-fashioned, or it could be sour cream. This is on one of the posters. I can't quite tell. If it's old-fashioned, I am just not a fan. I get they have their place, I guess, that's how it started. But old-fashioned, it's why would I go get... It's basically just circular bread. You go to donuts because you want the sweetness, you want the taste, you want the flavors. That's why there are tons of different flavors and icings and combos, and places like Duck Donuts, they're literally just for weird combos. I've had tons of strange donuts. Fruity Pebbles donuts, those are starting to take off. I even had a Doritos donut, which was surprisingly not bad. It was actually really good. But I'm saying there's no place for old-fashioned in this new world. But if it's a sour cream donut, those are very good. Underrated, honestly. Don't totally know why they're called sour cream. They don't taste like it at all. They've kind of got like a glaze on them. And if they actually use sour cream, kind of weird, but still pretty tasty. So yeah, this is one thing with Moon's Donuts. I might give them a little bit of leeway because, whole T-virus, zombie apocalypse, nemesis running around, that whole thing. But like, this is one of a fair amount of donuts that only show up on advertisements and not actually in the store. But again, there's a lot of empty cases in the store. So I'll just say people were, running and grabbing these donuts on the way out, trying to escape, probably got ransacked for some food. You literally encounter a nemesis right outside the doors of Moon's Donuts. So maybe he grabbed some with his tentacle. I mean, gotta say, if Nemesis ever went straight, got a real job instead of just trying to murder STARS members, well, A, he'd learn how to have to say something other than STARS, but B, he could really, get like a glove on there, or sanitize that little tentacle on he shoots out. That'd be perfect for stacking donuts. It goes straight through the donut hole. Then you could make it a whole fun thing. People slide the donut right off. Nemesis, just saying. Clearly chasing Jill doesn't work out for you. You gotta go for a donut job. And Moon's Donuts, it's right there. You're already there by, just by happenstance. Next up is the filled donuts, which filled donuts are great. You got Boston cream, Bavarian cream, jelly, like I mentioned earlier. But it's here where Moon's Donuts seems to be lacking a little bit. The first one we got up here, it's weird because of the coloration, and I think obviously Boston cream first, but it almost looks like it could be caramel as well, like chocolate and caramel on top. Who knows, man? But that's clearly a filled donut, unless that's a really weird angle, which I would just say it's like glaze maybe, or caramel. But I think that's a filled and not just a weird shadow. So yeah, that looks like it'd be a Boston cream more than anything. And then next, I can't tell if these are two different donuts or if they're the same one. I'll put the pictures up. I mean, it basically just looks like one is slightly more red than the other on top. So maybe like sprinkles. Maybe it doesn't look pink enough to be strawberry frosting is the thing. So I think it might just be weird lighting. But it looks powdered on top, powdered sugar. So it's probably either a Bavarian or a Boston, or maybe that's what Bavarian or a jelly. Maybe that's what the two differences. One is Bavarian, one is jelly. And for those who don't know, everybody knows what jelly is. Bavarian is just like a Boston cream, but instead of chocolate on top, it's powdered sugar. So yeah, Moon Donuts does kind of seem to be lacking a little bit in the filled department, but I think that's because a lot of like local donut restaurants, or donut stores, I guess they're not really restaurants. I don't know, when I think restaurant, I think sit-in. Donut places, donut shops, they tend to do not filled stuff. Because it's a lot harder, it's different machines, different dough to make. And so if Moon's, because I don't know if it's a chain, because we don't get to see outside of Raccoon City. We actually don't see if there's any more in Raccoon City, so it may just be one location with very heavy advertising. Which, A, good on them, they're in a killer location right there between two streets. But yeah, so if they are a local business, actually that's incredible that they even have any filled. Because most places just do the regular donuts, which are great, hole in the middle, it's a classic, but filled is another level. So since it seems like a local restaurant, I'm not going to put too much pressure on them for only having like 2 or 3 filled donuts. So, it's a give and take. So at least they offer something. Keeping up with the filled though, they actually have a Long John as well, which it's kind of in the name. It's just a long donut. Chocolate icing usually on top, or sometimes it can be other. It's got cream in the middle, and they're pretty solid. I mean, I tend to stick to regular donuts myself, but Long Johns, nothing wrong with them. It's just a different form of a Boston cream almost. And so, yeah, they got those as well. That's pretty easy. It'd be tasty. That might be one Jill would want to get, other than the cream could be a little bit of an issue. But, it's a good one. Hold it in hand. She's got the pistol in one hand, Long John in the other. Good snack on the go that Jill can grab while running away from Nemesis. Now, this isn't really a donut, but it's a staple of most donut shops, and that would be the apple fritter. And at least I think it's an apple fritter. It could be a cinnamon roll, but the way it's shaped, how it's not super circular, it's more like an oval. and it's got, ridges and stuff on the inside. I think it might be an apple fritter. Either way, both apple fritters and cinnamon rolls are super delicious. They're both kind of staples of donut shops. I'd say more an apple fritter is a staple. Cinnamon rolls can be found in donut shops, but they're not as closely tied. And apple fritters, it's good to, if you're getting a bunch of donuts, maybe mix in an apple fritter so you get a different taste. The apple with the glaze, that flavoring is really tasty. I don't know how they're actually made, but there's, if you're getting a good apple fritter, when you eat the fritter, the apple flavor is almost in the glaze and the bread, mixes together. So it's good that Raccoon offers it. Another easy one for Jill to bring around because not super messy. And now we're getting into the crazy stuff, the specialties of Moon's Donuts. And this is where I think their donuts would really shine, except for the fact that we don't really get to see most of these donuts because the majority of them are on advertisements, on posters and marketing around the city. So yeah, you don't totally get to get the close view of what it looks like in real life. Starting with this first one, it looks to be like a cake donut, kind of like a cruller, but it was dipped in strawberry frosting, it looks to be. And so they do this with a couple of these. I don't know if that's just a marketing thing or if that's actually how the donuts would work, but I feel like that's not going to be the best thing because sure, that one spot will be tasty, but then you leave the rest of the donut, empty. And it's, not like a half and half type thing, because that would be good. I've seen some of those before. But this is just that one section is covered in the frosting, top to bottom, which, unique idea. Or glaze, but if it's glaze, it begs the question, why not do it all the way around? So this one, I feel like this wouldn't be that great of a donut. Sure, it might be tasty for that one bite, but then why not get either a strawberry frosted or a cruller itself, or both? Because this, you just get that one bite of strawberry on the cruller, and then, you're out. So you're just left wanting more of that. Or if you save it for the last bite, you only get that one bite of it. So, I don't know. I don't really see the need for this one right here. Now, the next one, this looks to be a regular donut, possibly a cruller because of the lines at the bottom, but I can't discount that just being, the zoomed-in screenshot that I took from the game. And so this one has a purple icing on top, and it's got the marble drizzle from before, purple icing with vanilla. So sometimes with purple icing, it's just regular icing, doesn't really taste that different, but it could be grape. And the reason I think it could be grape is because you see these little red things on it. I can't totally pinpoint what those are, but it looks like it might be little slices of strawberry, and that would be really tasty, like a grape icing, vanilla drizzle, and strawberries on a donut. That sounds really good. I could go for one of those right now. So I think that might be a strong contender, and that'd be a good specialty. You get kind of like a fruit donut specialty with that one, or almost like a smoothie. You can make a good smoothie with those ingredients. So yeah, that's definitely a specialty that's Moon's it's glad to have. Not the first one as much, but that one is very solid. So next up, we have a very confusing one to me. So the majority of it is clearly a chocolate glaze or maybe just chocolate batter. Those are both pretty common. So it looks like it's chocolate icing though all the way around. So then you get to this white part at the top. I can't totally tell what that is. It looks like it could either be almost melted ice cream or something, or maybe some whipped cream, or just a lot of frosting, but it's in a very weird angle. And it looks cool, but this is the problem with the marketing. It's not the best to see in game, and you don't get to see a physical representation of it like you do with other donuts. So I don't know. It's hard to say without actually knowing what that is. If it's icing, it looks like it's a lot, and it is falling off of the donut. It's not fully connected. So I don't know if it's icing, if it's whipped cream, or if it's ice cream. I don't think it's going to be that great, because I've been to places that have donut sundaes, and a lot of times they'll put it inside the hole of the donut, depending on what you're doing. Sometimes they'll make the donut circle it. It differs from place to place, but this one I feel really would not be good, just because of how it's overflowing. Now, if it were just 3/4 chocolate frosting, then that 1/4 vanilla icing, that'd be fine. But again, that brings up the problem with the first specialty, that you're kind of missing out on that flavor mixing for the majority of the time. Next up is the only specialty we actually get to see in the store, and this looks to be a strawberry frosted with marshmallows on top. At least that's what those look like to me. Like the small white things look like marshmallows, and that sounds real good. Strawberry and marshmallow combo. I mean, it's very, it's not simple. It's a specialty, but it's more simple than some of the other ones. So yeah, that's one I would definitely pick up because it's easy. It's a nice flavor, and that's unique to Moon's Donuts. Maybe they call the marshmallows like Little Moons. I know some places, try to tie things into their branding. So yeah, that one looks, very tasty. Looks very just enjoyable. It's an easy specialty is what I'm saying. Next up, we're back on the marketing grind. In the background behind the specialty looks like a regular strawberry frosted, but in the foreground is a half and half. Half looks regular or maybe glazed. The other half is dipped in chocolate frosting, chocolate icing. And see, this is how you do it right, because you get two halves. You can take one bite in the middle, and then, it's both flavors. And then you get a little bit of each, and then you go back to in the middle. That's how you make one of those combos. You don't do just like a little bit, like a third. You split it half and half, because that gives you a together, and then split apart a little bit, unless you, move it around, and then back together. It's like an Oreo inside of a donut. Is a weird metaphor that I just used, but it's tasty, and that's how you should do those types of donuts. So I think that's a lot better. Now, next up is still from the advertising. These two are hard to place for me because, well, it's not necessarily two. There's one and there's a box of donuts, none of which are in the store, all of which look like one way, but could definitely be seen from another perspective as different types of donuts. So these are the hardest for me to categorize. Now we're at the last two items. The first of which, it doesn't even look like a donut to me. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I see a strawberry on top. I see oranges in the background. I see something that looks purple, so probably grape. I see, some black spots, so those are probably blackberries. I see some yellow things, so those could be slices of mango, slices of pineapple. And then it all looks like it's got, some whipped cream, and like it's on, slices of bread. This looks like French toast to me. And I don't know many donut places that serve French toast, so I guess, Moon's is trying to branch out, I guess. But B, I don't know. Donut places are usually supposed to be easy. You don't need silverware there. So why offer French toast? And a very elaborate French toast at that. It looks good, I guess. I don't know. With my French toast, I kind of like it more simplistic. Maybe whipped cream at the top, but it's best when the French toast. Maybe some whipped cream or maybe some syrup, maybe like a single strawberry, but I don't like it when it's really overloaded. I feel like French toast should be able to stand on its own. Pancakes, that's a different thing. Waffles, I, again, feel like should be able to stand on its own. Pancakes are just, not as good as waffles, so they need more help, But, yeah, it looks fine, but from a donut shop, I would not really be getting French toast from a donut shop, just my opinion. And then now we hit the Big Daddy right here. This is the nemesis of this video. It's a giant. It's the biggest part of the advertisement. It's clearly a dozen box. We can only see 11 of the donuts though, and so I'm gonna break all of these down, starting from the left at the top row. First one in the left in the top row. It just looks like a regular donut, but it's got chocolate frosting, what seems to be underneath, and then something coating it, possibly like peanuts. Possibly some places do like Butterfinger donuts or like cookies. So it might be a candy or a cookie on top. It's hard to tell. That's one of the problems here. It's hard to tell details on some of these. Like the next one, again, it's a regular donut, but it's like a red and yellow thing, which makes me think almost like a strawberry or raspberry lemonade. I've had those types of donuts before, and since it's all in the frosting, it doesn't appear to have any like crumbs or crumblings on top. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably like a strawberry lemonade frosting thing. After that, we have another regular donut, but this one's got almost, seems to be powdered sugar on the inside. It's got a bunch of red things surrounding on the outside, which may be a candy because it looks too small to be any fruit. But then under those red things, you see a pink frosting. So it looks like it's strawberry frosting with powdered sugar on top of it, and then small red candies. So maybe like a strawberry shortcake type thing is what they're going for. I don't know. It's hard to tell. So yeah, that's the top three, all regular donuts with, these are more the specialty, obviously. That's why it's the specialty category, but they all seem pretty solid. So onto the second row, we just see the corner of one of these, but it looks pretty simple. It looks like a regular donut, chocolate icing, or maybe fully chocolate, with small dashes of vanilla icing drizzle. And I mean, that sounds pretty good. It's a basic donut, but I mean, that's a way to spice up just a regular chocolate, or those places that offer like double chocolate, where it's like the chocolate dough. The donut itself is chocolate and it's got chocolate frosting on top. That's tasty, but I think I would prefer that because it looks like it might be that double chocolate with the frosting and the donut itself being made out of chocolate. But then those small little stripes of vanilla, they're pretty evenly spaced. Looks like about at least one a bite. And it adds a little bit more flavor, a little bit more variety into it. So I think that's definitely a solid choice. Now these next two, these are what really get me in this, because they look to be about the same thing, except on the inside, one is orange, red, pink, I don't know. Not pink, it's more orange. And then the other is brown, so on the outside that are the same, it looks almost like coconut. I'm looking on the second one, and it looks long enough that on both it could be coconut on top, maybe a caramel circling around the thing because it looks thin enough that it looks like it could be a caramel drizzle. Yeah, on the inside, I'm thinking on the brown one, it's probably like cookie, like Oreo cookie, or maybe, I don't know, chocolate shit. I feel like it would be more Oreo cookie type thing, because you look to the right of that, the last one in the second row, it looks like it has a mix of Oreo cookies and also some white crumbling, so like a cookies and cream type thing. So it's like, that one would be cookies and cream, so there's that one, which looks like it has vanilla frosting under it, so it's a vanilla frosting with cookies and cream topping. So this looks like it could be like just the cookie part of that, or maybe it's brownies on the inside, which would be good. The other one I can't totally tell because it's that orangish color, so maybe like a marmalade, like a jelly, but it seems weird to put inside with the coconut and the caramel. The other one, the brownie or the cookie, either one of those blends better together with it. This one, I don't totally know. Let me know in the comments what you think that could be. And let me know what you think the rest of these specialty ones could be, and if that was French toast, because these are the ones that really throw me. Everything else is pretty simple. The only difference would maybe be the flavor. I was thinking, but these are the ones that really throw me. So that's the second row. And now the last one, well, in the last row, I take it back. We can only really see 10 donuts. In the last row, the fourth one is like a corner, and it's got a little bit of chocolate icing that we can see. So maybe it's just a regular chocolate donut. But the first of these three, it's very intricately designed. It's got, the majority of it is purple frosting, or pink, like a dark pink. It's more of purple, with a vanilla frosting drizzle. But then the end of it is like white, like vanilla frosting at the end. It looks very nice, I'll give it that. And it looks pretty tasty. And there's something on the edge of it, but I can't tell what those are. It's small, it's yellow. Maybe it's a little bit of candy. It looks too small to be a fruit or anything. Maybe it's just a little decoration. I can't totally tell. But that one looks pretty good. Maybe it's similar to the one before, the grape with vanilla drizzle, or maybe it's just kind of a plain one with vanilla drizzle, plain icing. I mean, the icing tastes like icing. No real outside flavoring. But that one looks pretty solid. Oh yeah, I forgot to go through which ones look solid. First one seems all right. First row seems all right. Or I guess that's the second one. Then third one, if it's strawberry lemonade, good. Fourth one, if it's the strawberry shortcake thing, that would be pretty tasty. Second row, first one, really good. Second and third on the second row, I think only the third one's going to be good, even though I'm not really personally a coconut fan on donuts, but I think anyways, that one's going to be pretty tasty. And then the fourth one, it's cookies and cream on vanilla frosting. There's no way you can go wrong with that. That's delicious right there. I don't care who you are. That tastes good. And then so drizzle, purple with drizzle, good. And then the next one, this one seems to be another filled, although it's got like an orangish yellow frosting around it, and it could be filled, but also there's a color change where it's looks like an orange cream almost in the middle. So that might just be a regular donut with a cream in the center, which I've had those before. Those are tasty, or I've had types like those. It's got green in the middle. I thought these were leaves, but it's too small, or it's not too small to be leaves, but I don't know many places that put like artisanal leaves on donuts. And Moon's Donuts also does not seem to be that type of place. It seems like a pretty standard donut shop with a surprisingly large like eat-in area. But maybe it's another little candy thing. But in my mind, this donut would be like a citrusy flavor, probably like an orange or maybe a lemon with an orange cream in the middle, and that sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty refreshing, gotta say. And then the third one here, third one in the third row, is what looks to be a strawberry filled, because it's fully pink icing with small little red things on top, which look to be the same candy as on top row, the fourth one. But there's no color change, so it's probably a strawberries and cream, which are really tasty, so they just put the cream in the middle. And that's a pretty regular one, so yeah. That's all the donuts in Moon's Donuts, at least that we see. You know, they might have more seasonal donuts. As I said, that was the pumpkin. So who knows? Maybe they've got like St. Patrick's Day one. They've got like a specific Halloween one, maybe some Christmas ones. But we'll never get to see those. And if you know the ending of Resident 3, you'll know why I said that. Sorry, Moon's Donuts, if you're not a chain, because you're gone. But who knows? Maybe they were with Umbrella anyways. Also, there's a menu in Moon's Donuts. I haven't been able to read it, but I'll edit in a clip of what it says on there. Alright, so I just couldn't, in good conscience, go on without actually finding the menu, and turns out you can read it. So it's pretty big development, and unfortunately it does not give us any big look into the names of the donuts, but it does tell us, prices, what else they offer. So starting at the top of the menu, they've got some drinks. They've got hot coffee, and they've got decaf as well. They've got some different teas. They've also got blended beverages and iced latte choice of flavors, which include the flavors almond mocha, caramel, hazelnut, Nutella, raspberry vanilla, snickerdoodle, spicy Mayan mocha, and white chocolate mocha. Now, personally, out of all those, spicy Mayan mocha sounds the most interesting to me, because that's one I've not really heard about anywhere else other than, here in Raccoon City. With the iced lattes, they've got iced cafe Americano, iced cafe mocha, iced latte. They've got a whole bunch of different stuff, and all of it is pretty fairly priced. Ranges from like $2 to $3 on the smaller side to like, $4 to $5 on the larger side, so pretty solid there. But then we get to donuts, and this is what that's what we're really here for. It's Moon's Donuts. It's not Moon's Coffee. So with the donuts, the first is the classic donuts. It looks to be $1.25 per donut, and with classic donuts, I'm thinking that's probably in the regular. And then $6.50 for a half dozen, then $11 for a dozen. That's pretty reasonable. I mean, that's a very solid, like, baseline level donuts. But we're gonna see that solid baseline donuts does not necessarily mean it's gonna equal out in the end. Under that, mini classic donuts. Again, it's like Krispy Kreme. They got your regular donuts and then their mini ones. At least I assume this is what it means by mini, not donut holes, but those are an entirely different thing. I feel like they'd be labeled aptly. So yeah, those are $1 for one, $3.50 for a half dozen, $6.75 for a dozen. Again, very standard price for the mini donuts. After that, we have artisan donuts, and that is what I'm going to really take as like the specialty donuts. I feel like is more what that's angling for, because artisan is, fancier. And those donuts are fancier than the regular ones that you can get anywhere. So yeah, the artisan, it's $2.80 individually, $12.75 half dozen, $25 for a dozen. That's, a bit more pricey. But then underneath, they've got the classic, which is artisan mixed half. Other half dozen looks to be $12 there, and then $17.50 for a dozen of a half and half, which, basically splitting the difference. Under that, we've got an American Rainbow, which I don't know what that means, because none of the donuts really resemble a rainbow at all. I'm looking through all of them, none of them are a rainbow. So maybe what the American Rainbow is, maybe that's the French toast thing that I was looking at earlier. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's that, box with the, that dozen box. I don't know. I think it might be the French toast thing, because it's got options for a single, a half dozen, or a dozen. Or maybe we just don't get to see the American Rainbow in game. And come on, Capcom, you got to put that in DLC. DLC of Jill eating an American Rainbow, sitting down, taking a break from running away from Nemesis. Because they've also got a mini American Rainbow. Actually, that brings up a good point. We never see any of the mini donuts either. So Where are those, huh? Are they just big sellers? Who knows? But then underneath that, we've got From the Oven, which is muffins, all varieties, and this is very common for a donut place to have muffins. We don't see any of them in game though, so again, maybe those are big sellers, or maybe they're very small sellers, so they don't make many. We got muffins, all varieties, and then it looks like small muffins, all varieties, under that muffins minis. And I'm not going to go through the price for all of these. You can see them on screen. And then they got cookies, which don't see those either. I love cookies. Not as common in donut places, though, as other baked goods. Then you get large cookies, and then an all-butter croissant, which, again, not super common. But yeah, those are all pretty reasonably priced. Nothing crazy there. And then you've also got kolaches, which kolaches are really good if they're done well. Basically, it's like a hot dog mixed, or like inside of a croissant almost, or not croissant, inside of bread. It's like a large pigs in a blanket is a good way of describing it. Kolaches are really good, and they've got sweet kolaches and savory kolaches. And I wish we could see them because I want to know what their sweet kolache is. Savory kolache, generally that's probably going to be like cheese with it, maybe inside of it. But I want to know what they do for a sweet kolache because I've not had one of those before. But yeah, pretty solid. And those are all fairly priced as well. But we have now arrived at the take-home treats part of the menu, and this is where things kind of go off the rails. And by take-home treats, I assume they just mean, you get it and you go. Like, that's what a lot of people do at donut places. That's why there are a ton of donut places that have drive-thrus. But here in the regular donuts, keep in mind, regular donuts are $1.25 individually if you eat it there. With a take-home treat, it is $40 for a regular donut. But if you want a half dozen, that's only $120. Or a dozen regular donuts, that's $245. $240, sorry. Why are they so expensive? I've got no freaking clue. But that was the choice that Moon Donuts made. And trust me, there's more. Here they have dough balls, which are not an item above because, this basically seems to be donut holes. But again, those aren't listed earlier on the menu. So for 5 pieces, that'll be $35. The little bunch says 25 pieces for $175. And the medium bunch is 35 pieces for $245. What are these prices, dude? You can see them in the picture. Why are they in the hundreds of dollars for 35 donut holes? Or basically the same price for a dozen donuts. And then premium donuts. Again, these aren't on the menu regularly unless, they're the artisan donuts as well. Per premium donut, that'll be $35. But if you want 3 premium donuts, that's only $105. So, it's a better deal for each one. And then baked goodies, muffins per piece, it looks to be $50. Yeah. So $50 per muffin. But if you get 3 pieces, it's $135. So, again, a little bit less of a little bit less expensive, but still way too expensive for the 3 muffins, unless these are huge, like ginormous muffins, which I don't think they are. And then other take-home treats, they have the Choco Brownie, again limited to just this selection. That's $40 right there. So that better be one dang good brownie. Per brownie, again $40. So if I had to say why I think they did this, I think it was just probably the designers messing around. But I don't know why, like, the majority of the menu is normal, like, but then here, they just go insane into the deep end with the prices. But I kind of love it, just the fact that, if you eat inside the restaurant, it's prices for a regular donut. But if you want to take it home, you're going to be paying top dollar for it. You got to have the money if you want to do that. And clearly, that's why the 2 zombies you see in there, they're inside the building with the donuts, because they didn't want to take it home. They didn't have the money, even in the midst of the apocalypse. So yeah, that's Moon's Donuts. Gotta say, the donut selection seems pretty solid, unless you're trying to take the donuts anywhere but the restaurant, because that's gonna cost you. So yeah, let me know what donuts you think you would like the most from here. Personally, I think some of the best would be that strawberries and cream, because those are always good. I like the pink with the marshmallows, the strawberry with the marshmallows. What else? The apple fritter, but that's, kind of plain. And I was thinking the specialty ones, because, you know, all the plain ones are going to be good. And I guess the green ones are kind of more of a specialty. You don't really see many green donuts, so yeah, that one seems pretty solid in and of itself. So yeah, tell me which ones you think would be best, which ones you think the characters in the game would like most. What do you think Jill would like? What do you think Mikhail would like? What do you think Carlos would like? What do you think Nemesis was like? Personally, I don't know why, but I feel like Nemesis would be the dude who gets the French toast. He's that kind of guy. So yeah, I'm going to have more Resident Evil 3 videos on the way, because god dang, I'm a pretty big fan of this game. I think it was very good. And until next time, I'm Logan. Subscribe for more videos like this. Leave a like if you enjoyed this very strange video, and goodbye.